the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth. Talk about it, we all about it. They making plans, we sit and count. Our chairs stacked just like a mountain. You heard about it, she running her mouth. She wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth.
Sounds like a decision is imminent. Right around the corner. This week, actually. A decision on the Tush push will finally have a resolution. Thank goodness. Thank the Lord. Hallelujah. Joshy, are you as sick of this as I am?
Couldn't be more sick of it.
Maximum sickness.
You're done with the tush push discourse?
I'm so done with it. Now, I probably would be.
The Tish course, I think is where you were going with that, right?
I probably would care less if the Packers weren't and Mark Murphy weren't the NFL's useful idiot in this case and pushing the narrative of what Roger Goodell and his NFL and their health and safety protocols would like. But the Packers being constantly tied to this is like, sure, Matt LaFleur and Goody kind of went out there and did their part of the deal. I don't think they truly care. They want to play football. They want to build a good football team. It's Mark Murphy doing what Roger Goodell wants, but the Packers are being dragged through the middle of it like they're the ones who care the most.
Well, and to the point where last week on Unsportsmanlike, when they were like going through after the NFL schedule came out last Thursday, top 5 games you should be paying attention to, like Eagles-Packers was on there because, the Eagles are going to be pissed off because the Packers want to ban the Tush push. Yeah, because, when you're blocking Kenny Clark is actually the one who had the proposal. He went to Murphy, and
right.
Murphy's the one, that's not how any of this works.
Did you see that the last time they voted on this thing, it was 16-16? And again, it was an unofficial is the word. Unofficial, informal, there we go. Hey, we're going to get there. Unofficial vote, and it was 16-16. So now the latest, as we creep closer towards, hopefully, this resolution is that the Eagles have been out there making calls. The Eagles are campaigning to say, let us keep the Tush push. What do you imagine, Gabe, those calls are consisting of?
That's the crazy part to me. Like, who are you calling? Like, it's the owners that are. So if, Sirianni's calling up, Sean McDermott also still runs it, but if he's calling up Vrabel out in New England, hey, Mike, we should be able to keep this. Oh, yeah? Why? What can you offer me because Vrabel doesn't make the decision. Now Vrabel has to accept whatever explanation Sirianni gives him, try to run it up the flagpole all the way to Robert Kraft at the top of the organization. Like, the owners are the ones that are voting on this. So the fact that they're trying to whip up the votes to try to make sure that this thing stays in, like, them and the Bills are really the only two teams that run this with any sort of consistency. And, oh, by the way, their head coach in the Bills has come out against the Tush push.
I wish that Chewy was here this morning so I could ask him this question, because I don't think we have unearthed this yet. If you are a player on the field, does it bother you that they run the Tush push? I know Chewy has been consistent in his thoughts on it, but does it bother you? Is it one of those things where you're like, does your pride get in the way of your position? What I mean by that is, are you okay as a player on the field that some executive, some front office is going to step in and go, no, we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want the league to do that anymore. We're taking it off. Does it depend on your success rate against it? What are the things that come into play when you are deciding as a player whether or not you are pro-tush push or anti-tush push?
I'm guessing most of them are pretty indifferent. And just whatever the rule is. That
was my guess as well.
Yeah, they're just, okay, that's the rule. Okay, cool. We'll play by that rule this year. That's my guess for most of these guys. Look, this reeks of desperation by the Eagles, probably because they know what everybody else knows. When the commissioner comes out against something, they're going to find a way to get it done. Whether it's through this vote, whether it's, a point of emphasis this year, because how many times have we seen that? Where the league doesn't change a rule, but they have a point of emphasis somewhere. So they could find some rule in the rule book. Point of emphasis now basically means you can't do that. Like, the league is going to find a way to no longer have the tush push, which shouldn't matter if you're the Eagles, because every Eagles fan I've ever seen try to defend it on social media says that, Jalen Hurts can squat a Ford F-150. So if he's that strong, what do you need to push him for? Just run the regular quarterback sneak and everybody will move on with their days.
I was trying to make my way through the proposal, the Green Bay proposal. It's a lot. It's too
very
long, didn't read is how I felt about it. But then I was like, come on, Jen.
Edited it. And
Research.
Well, because it's hard to read some of the words that are like stricken out because
Yes.
I know Pelissero and Ian Rappaport were tweeting out like the updated versions with the strike through of the things that teams were getting rid of as part of their proposals.
So I do think I found a simplified version of it, and I will go ahead and give you the things. No offensive player may, and there are 4 of them. 1, pull a runner in any direction at any time. 2, use interlocking interference by grasping a teammate or by using his hands or arms to encircle the body of a teammate in an effort to block an opponent, or push or throw his body against a teammate to aid him in an attempt to obstruct
I believe
an opponent.
that one is the one that's been struck out. That's no longer a part of the updated.
The C, the third one.
No, the B.
The B.
interlocking thing.
Okay.
The interlocking thing was scratched out, so that's no longer a part of the new proposal.
Okay. Immediately at the snap, push or throw his body against a teammate who is lined up directly behind the snapper and received the snap to aid him in an attempt to gain yardage. And is it all because this is too rugby?
Well, no, it jumped the shark because this has been around even before Sirianni was around. Like the Eagles did this, not to the frequency.
Doug Peterson actually is the one who is credited with starting it.
Correct, but they didn't do it to the frequency that they have the last handful of years because, well, Jalen Hurts is a tank of a human being, right? It's not a coincidence that the 2 teams that do this the most have tanks at quarterback in the Eagles and the Bills.
Yeah, if Cam Newton would have thought of this, they would have ran it a billion times too.
100%.
Right.
But this has been around, hasn't been pat. It jumped the shark in the NFC Championship game. When the
Washington Commanders were trying to stop it.
Yep, and jumping offside. And then the second that the official, was it Hercules Kid, jumped on the microphone and said, hey, knock this off or we're going to award a touchdown. That's when I think everyone collectively went, okay, this has gone too far. We need to get rid of it.
And completely fairly, because we were all mostly unaware that was a rule as well. We had no idea. We were like, whoa, what are you talking about? You can't just award touches. What is this, field day? What are we on the playground? Like, they've got 7 kids and you've got 4. We're going to reward them a touchdown. Like, that was very bizarre. So the decision is supposed to be made this week. And look, Gabe thinks it's an inevitability. It's just a matter of time.
When's the last time? Think of a time, if you can tell me, the last time Roger Goodell stood up at a podium and said, hey, we are against this, and then Goodell didn't get his way. I can't think of a single instance. Like every time they want to change a rule, once the commissioner has said, hey, we're going to be against this, and now he's got everybody on his, it's just.
But what I hate about it, and if I'm being honest, I really couldn't care less one way or another whether it exists or it doesn't exist. It really doesn't benefit the Packers all that much. If it did, I think I might feel more strongly about it. I would understand where Philadelphia Eagles fans come down on it, which is to say, just because we're good at something doesn't mean the league should be able to ban it. That being said, I hate that they use player health and safety as the reason why, right? The high and mighty up on a pedestal. We're trying to protect guys' health. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, we all know that they're adding another game. Behind closed doors, we know that they are hoping to expand the season. Behind closed doors, we're hearing, ooh, NFL Europe, anybody? Right? And none of those things have the players' benefit. And none of those things have the players' well-being in mind. Those are all to grow the game and to do what, Joshy? Make more what, Joshy? Thank you. And that's where I get frustrated with it. I get frustrated with the whole, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining.
Because it's the easiest thing for them to defend, right? Like, if, why are you against, player safety? Oh, do you not care about player safety? Because we care about player safety. Clearly, so you don't care about player safety, and they try to guilt you into coming into their side by, clearly you don't care about player safety the way we do.
Right, but again, the data doesn't indicate that this is
We're not talking about data. We're talking about vibes and feelings,
numbers
here, Jen.
and science.
Just because the numbers don't show that somebody's got hurt doesn't mean somebody won't get seriously hurt.
And thankfully they got that one guy who did get hurt. You got that one guy who did get hurt, so you can use that one guy who did get hurt and continue to say that it is player health and safety minded.
At the draft, we talked to VP of player safety on the Mr. Relevant show. And he basically said, well, we don't have the evidence to prove it. We believe that through enough samples, this would prove out to be an unsafe play, which is hard to really determine what that actually means. I mean, from what we know about concussions is repeated blows to the head like that do have an effect over time, but that would be then every running play too. So it opens up a weird slippery slope there where it's well, yeah, we know those linemen, if they are meeting heads often, will be in danger of having lasting effects. But does this one play affect it more than, say, just a run to the right tackle? I don't know.
Josh, you're asking too many questions. Again, it's vibes.
I didn't
ask
him those
vibes.
Questions. He was a nice guy. He was from Wisconsin. He met us with smiles and answered, not.
Can you imagine, though, Joshy going all, you can't handle the truth on the guy, the guy, he's this nice guy from Wisconsin. He's player health and safety. And all of a sudden, Joshy gets
right-hand man.
out of his chair. He's up in his face, and he's like, tell the truth.
Did you order the code red?
That wasn't, I was in good vibes. I was just happy to be there. It was the draft. It was a good time. He had important people looking around. You bring important people to watch your interview, I'm already on
What
my
does
heels.
an important person look like?
Suit.
That's it? Those are your standards?
Slicked hair, and then just staring at you guys as you do an interview. That's what it's a little intimidating.
So that makes you nervous. All that has to happen to make you a little squeamish is have a dude with slicked back hair and a suit.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't be intimidated if there was someone just standing in the corner in a suit watching you the whole
hold
day?
on. I think we should get everybody's standard on when you see somebody, what they have to have for you to be like, ooh, that's an important person. Suit is one element of it. I will say the little thing in the ear.
Oh, jeez.
That's
terrifying.
Little thing in the ear.
And was you calling in an airstrike on me? What's going on here?
A little wire running behind
Take
the
out
ear.
the wine bar.
Down the collar of the suit.
Yeah.
Ooh, Josh is going to pee his pants.
He's asking the concussion question. Fire, fire, fire.
How do we feel about a briefcase? Briefcase yes, briefcase no.
I feel briefcase is out of, who walks around with a briefcase anymore?
I
It's
don't
not
know.
1960.
I wear sweatshirts and ball caps to work every day. I am not the right person to ask this question to.
Briefcase makes me think, I don't know why, it's like schlubby old business guy who is kind of just hanging on to something for too long. And for all I know, he's got tiddlywinks in that thing.
What if he's handcuffed to the briefcase?
Oh, now I'm interested.
Yeah,
Now I'm intrigued.
That's the only way a briefcase can at any point make me wonder if it's important.
Combine blackout sunglasses
Yes.
with the suit.
Yep, black and the little thing over the ear. But now we're Secret Service.
Yeah, now we're...
Wow. Some of those guys like to make themselves look like that.
That's
on
true.
purpose.
We
It's
have
a design.
security for ESPN, but those guys are mostly wearing ESPN security polos,
Yeah.
and so they're very they announce themselves, if you will. When I was covering Special Olympics, and Vance's wife was there with their young son, they had a lot of security when we were over. Where was I? Italy this time?
You were
tell
in
me.
the Italian Alps.
Thank you. Thank you for that. It's hard for me to keep track, honestly. I just know that I was far away from home. All right, the Tush Push is supposed to be banned this week. They are voting on the Tush Push. Gabe thinks it's an inevitability that it will be banned because Roger Goodell wants it banned. And I think, Joshy, what bothered you the most was that the Packers were sort of the patsies here, right? The Packers were sort of all right, we'll propose it because you can't propose it, Commissioner of the
Right.
NFL. We'll take one on the chin for you.
Yeah, it feels like it was an old school payola. Hey, you guys got the draft coming to town. Guess what we want done?
Remember when we gave you the NFL draft and, we got a lot of criticism for it? We scratch your back, you scratch our back. How about you propose to ban the Tush Push? Deal?
It seemed, I mean,
King's that's
pretty simple.
exactly how it went down.
Seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff that happens with the NFL is very much, you do this for me, I do that for you. It's very much a one-for-one.
Transactional.
We reciprocate, and I mean, that's how a lot of business deals work, too. I do this, you do this, now we both have our deal made. And is this going to continue? in the ad policy
I have no idea.
world?
I have no idea. That's going to be the interesting part because this might be the first time where Murphy has like officially proposed something, but he has definitely stepped in front of microphones before and floated ideas. Because a lot of times the NFL likes to float ideas publicly, see how they're received before they do anything officially. And it seems like Murphy's been that guy before. So I don't know. So presumably Goodell and Murphy have a really good relationship. I have no idea what's going to happen when ad policy wanders in.
Yeah.
You would think he's got some sort of relationship with Goodell. He's been in the league forever. His dad was in the league.
Right. I would imagine I mean, he's kind of been like a right-hand man type deal, so I imagine it's a similar relation. I don't know. I just hope this goes away for a while. I'm done with it.
We got a lot of stuff to get to here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. No big guy as he is coming back from his graduation. Well, certainly not his graduation, right? Family member's graduation.
Correct.
Chewy did graduate, though, right?
Yeah, he graduated from BC.
Sidebar.
Yeah, he did
far as we
graduate.
know.
Yeah.
Just wanted to
Well, because he always brags about how good BC is. And, like, he wouldn't care. If he didn't actually graduate, like, he wouldn't care about how good BC is.
Right. I just think, should we take him at his word on this one, or should we...
Yeah, I'm sure he's got the diploma somewhere in one of the houses, on one of the properties.
Is there a diploma in the folder? Again, I'm not sure. I just, I'm trying to put the pieces together here after all of these years and just wondering if that fine establishment did, in fact,
Do I believe they granted him a diploma? Yes. Do I think he did all the things necessary to receive the diploma? Probably not.
to earn it.
Right.
But he hasn't. The only thing that matters is if you have it.
100%. At this point, you're exactly right.
It's a 1 or 0 proposition.
A lot of stuff to get to this morning. Apparently, Stephen A. Smith thinks that Giannis could be going to New York. We will talk about that. Also, there is a list out there of the Packers with the most to prove. And thankfully, the quarterback is on the list. We'll dive into that as Jen, Gabe, and Chewy rolls on this morning. Stick around.
Let me tell you about our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. No better time to upgrade your windows or doors than right now, because Pella is offering up to 6 years, 0% financing. They were just in my home, and you can set up your free in-home consultation. You commit to nothing at this point. Now, I wasn't necessarily looking at windows, but I'm looking at a new front door from our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. The customized options that they had were seemingly endless, and they were able to kind of give me a rendering of what it might look like, and now I have an idea of what that new front door is going to look like on the outside of my house. And I can't wait for Pella to start work and get that new front door on the house. They'll listen to the vision that you have, suggest Pella materials and customizations to make it a reality. And then get 0% financing for up to 6 years. Think about that. 0% financing up to 6 years. Certain restrictions do apply. Deal ends May 31st, 2025. So visit PellaWI.com today and make sure you tell them that me, Gabe Neitzel, sent you.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We've got delays in the usual suspects. Southbound 41 from Appleton Avenue all the way down to about Burleigh. Northbound slowing down from Mayfair Road all the way up past Burleigh. Back on the brakes just north of Capitol Drive. The rest of the system actually looking pretty good. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Rainy, windy, and chilly. A high of 50 tonight. Cloudy, more showers, breezy with a low of 46. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on May 20th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Baltimore Orioles.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in May 20th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Hi, I'm Brittany Miller from Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more. Custom T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, you name it, we can do it. Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more is family owned and all about celebrating life's big moments. Maybe it's a milestone birthday, a celebration for your child's first goal, or that work fundraising event. We are everyone's printer. No minimum orders, affordable designs, and help straight from me and our team. We're the one-stop shop for all your custom needs. Start your project today at bigfrog.com/Mequon.
Forget average. At Exterior Pros, they bring the heat. They're not here to meet standards, they're here to smash them. From the first swing of the hammer to the final reveal, they're leveling up your home with every window, every shingle, and every single detail. This isn't just a remodel, it's a glow up for your house. Built tough, built beautiful, built to turn heads. Want in? Let's go. Lock in your project now and save $3,000. Exterior Pros, where bold meets built. Trust the pros and visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274.
This just in, the NFL schedule has dropped, and you know what that means. It's go time. Adam Schefter here with the Insider Tip. If you're trying to catch your team live this season, Vivid Seats is the move. For the best selection of games and seats, it's time to snap your tickets up now. Vivid Seats has great deals on great seats and the only rewards program in the game. It's no wonder they're the official ticketing partner of ESPN. So don't wait. Head to vividseats.com or download the app and lock in those game days.
Evan Cohen here. When the draft clock is ticking, you've got to pick the best talent, regardless of position, to fit your team's needs. Well, if you're hiring for your business, you want to find the best talent for any of your roles. That's why you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology hustles to find qualified candidates for your job immediately. And if you see a standout candidate, ZipRecruiter lets you personally invite them to apply. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/USL. That's ZipRecruiter.com/USL.
Tournament host Steve Stricker joins a star-studded group of PGA Tour champions at the American Family Insurance Championship. Catch the action June 6th through the 8th with an exciting team competition and a new tournament home at TPC Wisconsin. This year's AmFam Champ concert features Megan Maroney with special guest Clint Black on Friday, June 6th at Bree Stevens Field. All proceeds support the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation and American Family Children's Hospital. Get your tickets today at amfamchampionship.com.
Ready, down, put. All Packers, all the time.
He was a field-tilting player, and the reason why Gabe and many others are so concerned is that this guy's on the field, he changes the offensive dynamic. They are a different offense when he is there.
Okay, most of the time.
You know, Homer calls Matt LaFleur soft all the time. Matt LaFleur is like Vince Lombardi compared to me.
It's Jason Wilde on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Always good to chat with our friend and teammate Jason Wilde about all things 1265. Good morning, Jason. How you doing today?
Good morning, everyone. I'm great. Thank you.
We are doing well as well. What are the Packers doing with the right tackle competition?
Good question. I don't know. I mean, I seriously, cool. I don't get it. Like, is it? I mean, they drafted Anthony Belton in the second round. He is a tackle, a left tackle is what he played at NC State. But I just, and at first I just wanted to think, well, maybe Steno just misspoke. But again, the fact that he included right tackle with left tackle and guard, which we knew left tackle was going to be a competition. The head coach and the GM both announced it earlier this offseason. And the fact that they didn't say, well, Aaron Banks has got to, he's got to compete too, or Elton Jenkins, he's got to compete too. It's just the way it played out makes me think that, they don't think that Zach Tom is as good as apparently the two guys that used to play right tackle think, or most of the rest of us think. So again, I don't know. I know Josh, he floated the idea that it's some sort of negotiating ploy to drive down the price. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but I'm surprised that more people haven't, now, I'm going to get accused of stirring up drama, but the dude was essentially third team All-Pro. There's no such thing as third team All-Pro, but Zach Tom finished third in the voting for the AP All-Pro teams. Penei Sewell was the first team right tackle. Lane Johnson was the second team right tackle. But Zach Tom got 3 votes. He was first team according to Pro Football Focus. He had the highest grades, which I know aren't the end-all, be-all, from them of his career. And yet, he acknowledged that he didn't play as well as he would have liked to have because of the pec. But the idea that he's in an open competition, I would love it if someone would explain it to me because I don't get it.
Is there a possibility that at the end of the year, none of the three guys that are a part of that draft class are on the team, and Walker, Tom, and Ryan?
Evidently, right?
I mean, those are the three in competition, I guess. Because I'm thinking, could Ryan end up being the one they end up extending? Like if Belton wins the right tackle job and Morgan wins the left tackle job, or vice versa, the whole thing is so strange.
It leaves me wondering if there has been, and John Runyon would have been like the test case, if you will. If there has been some sort of shift in mentality that basically says, hey, these guys are a dime a dozen, and we'll just keep drafting new ones. We'll use them up, and then we'll draft new ones again.
But then why spend money on Aaron Banks?
Yeah, I don't know, other than the fact that the reason they had to pay Aaron Banks is because they missed on Josh Myers, right? If they had hit on Josh Myers like they would have on Creed Humphrey, had they taken him instead, then Elton Jenkins is still playing left guard. They do extend him. And I'm not saying that Josh Myers is part of the use him up and move on from him. I mean, he is, in terms of how much he played, I mean, he started a ton of games. But, I think we can all acknowledge that even those of us that like Josh as a dude, the league spoke on whether or not he's a starting center right now, right? I mean, the contract he signed with the Jets was to be a backup. So, again, I'm not saying that they should have signed him too. I don't know. And this is one of those instances where being an old guy on the beat makes it difficult for me, because once upon a time when we would get to talk to these guys in a more intimate setting as opposed to at the podium, you could say, hey, what's the deal here? I'm not going to quote you, but explain to me what exactly, how on earth is Zach Tom, other than the blanket, well, everyone's got to compete, everyone's in competition, how is he someone that you think has to be either pushed or competed with, or possibly, to your point, Gabe, isn't deserving of an extension? I don't get it. I just don't.
I'd be concerned about the dynamic it's creating.
Agreed.
Right? And this idea that you have to, and again, I understand it's the NFL. I understand it's a big boy league. I don't think anybody rests on their laurels, if you will. But at some point, it does feel like what you have done for the organization should have some merit. And it sounds like they might be shifting towards no, you're only as good as your last game. And since your last game was, 8 months ago, we'll see how things go in the fall. I just wonder if that's something they need to be concerned about going forward, that maybe mentality, and then how that affects the culture of that group and, all of those sort of things.
I agree, and it's at wide receiver too. Wide receiver is a little bit different, but it's, look, I think we all want to feel appreciated in our job. That doesn't mean we're going to be complacent. That doesn't mean we're going to be lazy. But I don't know, and again, you can call me soft, and the YouTube comments can be about how I'm sensitive or whatever else. But it does feel like that is their mentality. And I just don't know. I mean, we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago with Chew about, Jeff Thomason was appreciated, but no one was like, oh, Jeff Thomason's competing with Chewy for the starting tight end job. I'm intrigued by the thought process here, and I am curious what it does for guys, because this kind of goes back to, heaven forbid, kind of Aaron Rodgers' complaints about, kind of the money ball approach of that there not being conversation or connectivity with the front office. I think this is how Goody wants it. And so, again, you said it. It's a big boy league. You got to earn your keep. But it just feels like an overcorrection to me, too far over to the everyone's in a competition side of the spectrum. You don't want to be telling everybody, oh, your job is safe either. I get it. But there's something weird about it to me, and I'm glad I'm not the only one.
That 2022 draft class, Jason, is probably the best one Goody's had from top to bottom.
Is it?
I mean,
if you're not going to re-sign any of the offensive linemen,
well, that's what I'm saying.
And you didn't give Quay Walker the fifth-year option.
That's what I'm saying.
And
this
you're
is
not going to re-sign Romeo Doubs.
Who knows what happens with Christian Watson?
Yes.
Because this is, those first, Quay Walker, starter. Devontae Wyatt, starter. Watson, when healthy, starter. Sean Ryan, starter. Dobbs, starter. Tom, starter. Those were your first 6 picks. But if none of them are actually going to be like pillars or here long term, is it actually that good of a draft class?
Yeah, I can't understand. This is part of the not understanding it, right? Because I totally agree with you. Like, you get that many starters, and if you view them as all replaceable, not only does that say that you think that maybe they're not as good as we all think. And remember, I keep going back to this, but Goody had that line before last year's draft about, on average, teams re-sign 1.6 players from their draft class to second contracts. But maybe if you think they're all replaceable, maybe this is just, again, insight into his philosophy. But the problem is this. You got no margin for error then.
100%.
Right? You cannot miss on draft picks if you're just going to keep cycling them through.
Right.
And if you have a class like 2022, I got news for you. No, I don't care how good your system is and how good the guys you have on your personnel staff are, they are going to miss.
Well, and to be honest, the conveyor belt can't keep up, Jason. The conveyor belt, I'm picturing Lucy now with the chocolates and the you know, but like it can't keep up. You can't be pushing players in fast enough to replace the ones that you are kicking out, and like you said, hit on every single one of them. That is Gabe. I think you just gave Jason an article with your 2022 draft guy by guy.
What I do here, really. I'm here to pitch story ideas to a talented writer, since I'm not a talented writer.
Does this just all go away if Zach Tom gets an extension? Is it as simple as until you get your second contract, you are in a competition and you earn everything every single time you go out there?
I don't think that's the way it used to be, Josh. And maybe that is how things are now, and maybe you're right. At the same time, you know, there are a lot of guys in that draft class that have played a ridiculous number of snaps and started a ton of games. And, you know, just because Goody says, oh, we want Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt long term, doesn't mean that he will actually keep them long term, right? Like, I think in Devontae Wyatt's case, I think he's just not convinced. So he wants to see more of them. In Quay Walker's case, I think even though I thought he had kind of turned a corner last year, I think they're sitting there going, hey, we got Edger and Cooper. We think he's really good. If Quay Walker doesn't play well enough to deserve an extension in 2025, we will just move on from him and we'll draft another guy. So I think the Zach Tom thing, if he got an extension like at the start of training camp, it would certainly quell some of this, but I don't think it changes the overarching thing of they are definitely on the conveyor belt, and the image of Lucille Ball is perfect.
Last thing before we let you go, Jason. There is a article that Matt Schneidman put out about the Packers with the most to prove. Now, thankfully, Jordan Love is on that list because we all believe that he does need to take that step in his evolution in order for the Packers to get where they need to go. Who, in your mind, is next on that list?
Ooh. Well, who did Matt Schneidman have next on his list? Were they in order of, because I have not caught up on reading. I was trying to get a lot of stuff.
They were not in order. They were just sort of gathered, if you will.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of guys, right? And I would put 2 former first-round picks at the top, well, maybe 3, since I just mentioned Quay Walker. But I want Rashawn Gary. If I'm a Packers fan, I want Rashawn Gary to prove he's an elite pass rusher. So he's got that to prove. I think LVN has to prove that he's good at all. And Quay Walker has to prove, now that he's in a contract year, what he's capable of. So those would be the first three people that would spring to mind if I were to plagiarize that story.
Very good. If I were to borrow the idea, if you will, Gabe is happy to share the 2020.
Well, no, I don't need to borrow anybody else's ideas. I got Gabe generated, so I'm good.
It's great. All right, Jason, we appreciate you hanging out with us.
Hey, just make sure you get Keith the check, and we can keep coming up with ideas, Jason.
We are going to go over that list when we come back here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. But before we do, guys, we have enjoyed having Professional Construction Inc. help us with our home projects. As you might know, we're not the most handy people, so please consider Professional Construction Inc. when you do your next remodeling project, home edition, or if you're thinking about building a new home, because that's exactly what we do. Mike and Michelle operate a family-owned company. They believe in building relationships, and they've been in the business for more than 20 years. You don't stick around for 2 decades unless you're doing exceptional work. Learn more about PCI and see their work at professionalconstructioninc.com. That's professionalconstructioninc.com.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We got back southbound on 41 from Appleton Avenue, pretty much solid all the way down past Capitol Drive. Northbound in patches from just before Mayfair Road all the way up past Silver Spring. Southbound 43 starting to get into the act. Got some delays from Hampton down to Capitol and a little bit heading into the Marquette. Northbound slowing down a bit north of North Avenue up towards Keefe. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Rainy, windy, chilly, a high of 50. Tonight, cloudy, more showers, breezy with a low of 46. Spring into savings at IKEA Oak Creek during their annual sidewalk sale May 9th through the 26th. New deals added often, plus exclusive Friday mystery deals on the 23rd for IKEA family members. IKEA Oak Creek. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, Milwaukee's medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Weekend appointments available. Call now. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's your pal Donald Driver here. For 10 years, I've been working with the Wisconsin DOT to get everyone to wear their seatbelt. And it's working. Nearly 90% of Wisconsin drivers buckle up, which makes me want to say to the ones who don't, come on, man. If you don't wear your seatbelt, you're going nowhere fast. Buckle up. If you don't, it can cost you money or a lot worse. Click it or ticket, and let's work together to save lives. Take my driving safety quiz at zeroinwisconsin.gov.
Hey, I'm Mike with Infinity Exteriors. Over 25,000 homes across Wisconsin were hit hard by this most recent storm. And like clockwork, out-of-town roofers are already flooding in and then disappearing the moment the job's done. Choose local. We live here, we work here, and we stand behind every roof we install. Since 1997, Infinity Exteriors has helped more than 30,000 homeowners protect their homes and their peace of mind with no hidden costs, no fine print, and no confusion. Infinity Exteriors, saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
At Ewald Automotive Group, we don't just see the uniform, we see the people in them. Ewald salutes those who serve and are brave first responders. Thank you for your dedication, sacrifice, and for keeping us safe. As always, service members and their families can benefit from the Ewald Military Advantage Program with special pricing and incentives on every vehicle. And for every new car sold this month, we'll make a donation to local military and first responder charities. Thank you from Ewald Automotive Group.
Home practice is about to begin. Your daughter's new tap shoes? Loud. Your son's new tuba? Louder. But you got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with $50 overdraft Greystone. So if you lose track of expenses buying some noise-canceling and sanity-saving headphones, we've got your back. You got this with $50 overdraft Greystone from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You called them a
And you
white
find someone
stiff
else.
earlier.
From one white stiff to another. I'm pretty well versed in the realm of stiffs.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Tuesday here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, we are checking out this article by Matt Schneidman where he compiled a list of, and I quote, Packers with the most to prove this upcoming season, facing pivotal seasons, he says. So we asked Jason Wilde who he thinks should be on that list. Sight unseen. He has not seen the list. He said LVN, Rashawn Gary, and Quay Walker. And I can tell you that two of those guys aren't even on Schneidman's list. Not to say that they don't have something to prove, but they weren't even top tier on Schneidman's list. And I said to Gabe, that's not great. The fact that Jason Wilde could think of two other guys on the Packers roster who have a lot to prove, the most to prove, that Schneidman didn't even compile means we got a lot of these guys. So I want to go around the list, and each person takes somebody from the list that Schneidman compiled and tell me why they are, in their mind, the most important. Now, again, when I mentioned this to Jason, I said outside of Jordan Love is on the list. So, Gabe, why don't we start with you there because you feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, because Jordan Love is 1 through 7. Like, he's 8, he's 9, he's 10. He's 1 through 10. When you give Jordan Love the type of contract that he got, or when Brock Purdy just got paid this last week, that you're giving that kind of contract because you need to be a top 10 quarterback. You need to be a top 5 quarterback. And with the way everybody's getting paid right now, that can't be true of all of them. But when you give that type of money, you're not able to spend at other places that maybe you would like to. So now the quarterback has to elevate everyone around him. I'm not saying that Jordan Love needs to be an MVP, but Jordan Love needs to be in the conversation of best quarterbacks in the NFC if this team wants to go where they're going. Yeah, it'd be nice if Lucas Van Ness got better at pass rushing or Keyshawn Nixon developed into these other things. But ultimately, the only thing that matters is Jordan Love good enough? It's such a quarterback-driven league when you look at the guys and the teams that were in conference championship games last year. It's, guys that you consider to be some of the best. Jaden Daniels working his way towards there. Jalen Hurts now been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1. Patrick Mahomes, his resume speaks for himself. Josh Allen just won an MVP. And those guys are all getting paid. And you look at what Josh Allen had in terms of the weapons around him. He doesn't have even the weapons that Jordan Love probably had last year and was still able to elevate his team to 13 wins in an MVP-type season. So Jordan Love needs to have that consistency, and he needs to continue his growth. I understand the injuries were a part of it last year, but now that's behind him. You're going into year 3 as a starter. You've got to take that big jump to justify this contract to get the Packers to where they need to go.
Jordan Love is on the list. Matt Schneidman did put Jordan Love on the list as one of the Packers players who has the most to prove next season. Joshy, who's the guy that stood out to you on the list?
It's Jaden Reed. I think there's a lot going on, especially after we heard the report from Adam Schefter, which we're not sure was actually a report. Jaden Reed needs to prove he's not a gadget player. He's got a ton to prove. He's got to beat the one-trick pony allegations. Is he going to be a guy that's going to be able to be on the field in 2 wide receiver sets? Is he going to be able to play in situations that are against man coverage? Is he going to be able to play on the outside? Is he going to be able to be the tool the Packers need to keep him on the field and not just be that slot wide receiver? Slot wide receivers are important, but a guy like Jaden Reed, who has the explosiveness and also disappears in the way he has, is he going to be an actual weapon? Or is he just going to be a guy the Packers have to force the ball into his hands and hope something happens in those 4 to 5 plays a game? If he wants another contract, he needs to be a lot more than what we saw last year from Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed also on the list that Matt Schneidman has compiled over at the Athletic. Packers with the most to prove, 7 players, including Jordan Love, facing pivotal seasons. I'm going to go defensive side of the ball, and I think you all know where I'm going with this. We still don't know what the resolution is to the Jair Alexander situation, but we know that Keyshawn Nixon thinks he is, cornerback 1. Is he?
I mean, he is.
I mean, in name, it's kind of like Chewy, graduating from BC. Did he?
It's like the Brewers in the earlier part of the in the middle part of the 2010s. They didn't really have an ace, But I mean, somebody had to be first in the rotation, right?
That's true,
Like
yeah.
somebody's got to be your number one star.
But it's like anything else. Don't we have standards for what we deem an ace? Don't we have standards for CB1? I understand that he's filling that spot. And so Keyshawn Nixon, you said you wanted it. You know, put the carrot in front of you. You dangled it in front of you. Went trying to go out and grab it. I still think he needs to elevate his play. I think there's a ton of metrics that you could look at where he's fine, but he's not top tier in the league. What would it take, Gabe, for Keyshawn Nixon to be a top cornerback in the league based on what you have seen from him when he is filled in that role?
Well, I mean, continued growth. Like to Keyshawn's credit, he continues to meet just about every challenge the Packers throw his way, right? Like he's almost like the Rasheed Walker of the defense, where, hey, we need you to do this. All right, I got you. Oh, we signed you to be a return guy. Can you do that? Yeah, I can be an all-pro return guy. Oh, we need you to play the slot now. Yeah, I can do that. Well, we've got a lot of injuries, Keyshawn. Can you play the boundary? Yeah, I can do that. And he has continued to answer the call every time they've asked him to do something. And if he's allowed to just kind of continue to focus beating that outside guy instead of, hey, sometimes we need you out, sometimes we need you in, now we need you to return this punt. If they focus him solely on the outside part, I think he can continue to grow. Do I think he's going to be one of the best corners in the league? No, because if he was, he wouldn't have had to go through the journey in which he did. But I think he can be a perfectly fine cornerback for the Green Bay Packers.
But don't you need, especially with the way that we have seen the wide receiver position continue to evolve, don't you need to have a top-tier guy to at least shut down these receivers that are getting big bucks, that are bona fide number ones on a lot of the teams you're going to be facing this year? To say nothing of the duos that we have talked about, that all we think are better than the duos that the Packers trot out
If you want to play the way that Jeff Hafley played at BC, probably. But if you want to play the way the Packers did last year, which they still finished as a top 10 defense, you don't need it because you're going to be playing more zone. Like, Hafley ultimately wants to play more man. That's what he did in BC, and that's kind of the breadcrumbs that he's dropped, that he wants to play more aggressively like that. And you can only do that if you have those top-tier corners, but you can get by with, assignment-sure guys that you can trust if you're playing more zone.
Let's go through the rest of the list. There are a lot of defensive guys. Kenny Clark is also on this list of guys who have a lot to prove. Marshawn Lloyd, that one surprised me, guys. I guess because maybe when I think about the running back position, I obviously go to Josh Jacobs, and I'm like, check, done. That obviously is not how it works in the NFL. You do have to have guys who can contribute and spell your horse. Do you agree that Marshawn Lloyd has a lot to prove this season, Gabe?
He's a third-round pick who played 6 snaps. I think that's what it was last year.
Injuries.
6 snaps due to injuries. So, yeah, it's a position where the Packers got by with Emmanuel Wilson, who was just fine in that backup role, but they spent pretty high capital on you. They spent a third-round pick on you, so you've got to be able to hit the ground running and prove that you're better than Emmanuel Wilson in order to get the snaps that you deserve. Because I don't know how much special teams Marshawn Lloyd's playing. He's just going to be kind of that backup running back. And Josh Jacobs does have some injury history. He was relatively unscathed last year. I can't imagine that's going to continue this year and next year, that he's not going to miss any time the way he did in 2024.
I think it's especially big for him this year without the explosive element of Christian Watson. Lloyd was brought in to sort of be the explosive play guy and hit home runs. And if you want to add another wrinkle to that offense, having a guy like that out of the backfield, because Josh Jacobs is great, he's not going to run away from many people. And that's what they want Marshawn Lloyd to be, is sort of that complement that is going to provide explosives in another way for the team.
The last guy on the list who we have not addressed is Luke Musgrave. Again, we have talked about injuries, and injuries are a big part of his story so far. The article does go on to say that he is not going to supplant, or he's not going to get in front of Tucker Kraft as the featured tight end, but the emergence of another versatile tight end who can make plays down the field would do wonders for Green Bay's offense. We have heard so much about the hope for them to run a lot more 2 tight end sets. Sort of feels like Luke Musgrave is important to that game plan, Gabe.
For him, it's about staying healthy, because I think he proved that he could play and he had that potential. Like, how many times was he just wide open on our screen in those first 8-9 games before he had the injury as a rookie? Before Tucker Kraft, who was clearly behind him, then got that game action and then was able to supplant him. I think that's what makes them excited, because they know the potential that Musgrave has. It's just about getting him healthy enough so he can kind of get that momentum to get back to that spot while also growing Tucker Kraft. So for Musgrave, I think it's more about, I don't know what he has to prove necessarily. It's just, hey, you got to stay healthy. Because if you stay healthy and we're able to kind of get you back to where you were and then grow off of that, man, this could be a really fun 2 tight end team. But for him, it's more about health. And it's not like he had, I pulled the ham. He had a lacerated kidney. Like, he's had these freak injuries. It's not like the Christian Watson, my hammy's hurt. This hammy's hurt. It's not the soft tissue stuff. I don't know how you prevent a lacerated kidney. I don't know how you do that. And it's just kind of been that freak stuff for him. So hopefully he can avoid that freak stuff, and they have really 2 strong tight ends.
I think what he has to prove is basically, is it worth the Packers running 2 tight ends more and more and more? Is he going to be explosive? Is he going to just be a factor that demands being on the field?
Well, and in that case, like, he's kind of in competition with some of the wide receivers too.
Yes,
because
correct.
if Jaden Reed grows and they have to have him on the field more, and they don't trust him on the outside, that means you're taking a tight end off because you got to go 3 wide receivers. So even though he's in a different room, he's in competition with some of those other wide receivers in terms of playing.
Wicks fits that bill too.
800-990-3776. Is there anybody we are missing? Is there anybody who has stood out to you, the loyal listener, that needs to improve their game, that has a, quote, more to prove season ahead of them? Let us know, 800-990-3776. That's our Carbless talk and text line. You can also weigh in on the YouTube stream. Always stream the show on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee. We will take a break. Gabe has an idea for a marathon. It's not his idea, but since Gabe is the idea giver this morning, I thought I would attribute it to Gabe and then tell you.
I don't want credit for that idea.
We'll talk about that right after this on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
BOGO on Connie's Original Thin Crust. You can find it right now at Pick and Save in Metro Market, and it is still going strong. 7 more days left on this sale for Connie's. Buy one, get one at Metro Market and Pick and Save. With Connie's Frozen Pizza, you can enjoy pizzeria quality without those pizzeria prices. Just such a great crust with the cornmeal on the bottom that Connie's is famous for. So make sure you head to your Pick and Save or Metro Market and find Connie's Original Thin Crust. It's buy one, get one through May 27th.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Your chance to spend an afternoon on the links with ESPN Milwaukee is just a tap away. The 2025 Delzer ESPN Milwaukee Open happens July 15th at the Ball Golf Course, and we're inviting a lucky ESPN Milwaukee fan and 3 guests. Hang out with your favorite ESPN Milwaukee hosts, play around at one of Wisconsin's most popular courses, and enjoy food and drinks throughout the day. Open up the contest tab in the ESPN Wisconsin app and register for your chance to win this fan foursome with ESPN Milwaukee.
This is an ad by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp recently surveyed more than 16,000 people and found that while 75% of people believe it is wise to seek support, only 27% of Americans are actually in therapy, and people stay silent to avoid being judged. BetterHelp has more than 10 years of experience matching you with the right therapist. We are all better with help. Visit BetterHelp.com/timeout for 10% off your first month of therapy today. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/timeout.
This Memorial Day, turn up the heat with the Home Depot. Find the perfect grill and patio set to keep the cookouts coming all season long. Grill up a feast with the Next Grill 4-burner gas grill, only $229. And complete your space with the stylish Glen Ridge Falls 7-piece dining set, now on special buy for just $499 with free delivery. Take your Memorial Day cookout to the next level all summer long with the Home Depot. See homedepot.com/delivery for more details.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
This just in, the NFL schedule has dropped, and you know what that means. It's go time. Adam Schefter here with the Insider Tip. If you're trying to catch your team live this season, Vivid Seats is the move. For the best selection of games and seats, it's time to snap your tickets up now. Vivid Seats has great deals on great seats and the only rewards program in the game. It's no wonder they're the official ticketing partner of ESPN. So don't wait. Head to vividseats.com or download the app and lock in those game days.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Evan Cohen here. When the draft clock is ticking, you've got to pick the best talent, regardless of position, to fit your team's needs. Well, if you're hiring for your business, you want to find the best talent for any of your roles. That's why you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology hustles to find qualified candidates for your job immediately. And if you see a standout candidate, ZipRecruiter lets you personally invite them to apply. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/USL. That's ZipRecruiter.com/USL.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Bumble is a
Tuna.
dating app.
It's tuna.
I love tuna. I had some last night.
How do you eat your tuna?
Can we, for once, grow up on this show?
On 94.5 ESPN.
Look, after I finish a long run, I'll admit having a concrete mixer from Culver's, maybe some cheese curds, sounds fantastic.
I'll tell you what, Jen. After running the half marathons that I've run the last 2 years, the lakefront ones, they give you an Uncrustable after. Oh, that Uncrustable hits. It hits hard.
Is it the grape
good.
jelly?
They do have They do have the strawberry ones. I'm a grape guy, so I typically veer for the grape one. Yes.
They just dropped a raspberry. Raspberry jelly.
All right, now we're
and they also, my kids love the Nutella Uncrustables. Pop them in the toaster. Chocolate gets a little melty. And then I also saw that they're doing honey.
Like peanut butter and honey?
Peanut butter and honey Uncrustables now.
I need the jelly.
Let's get back to the Culver's Marathon. You told me this morning, and I went, bleh.
So there's this guy, Clay from Wisconsin, who runs a TikTok and YouTube page called Far Fetched Fitness. And apparently last week he released a video where he ran what he called, again, this was a run of one, he called it the Culver's Marathon. Now, it's somewhere, I don't know, I didn't recognize all the different Culvers that he stopped at in the video. It's somewhere in southeastern Wisconsin here because he ran around Culver's Stadium, which is the high school football stadium for Kettle Moraine High School, out by where Chewy lives. And what made this the Culver's Marathon is and it ended up being over 27 miles, so he went above and beyond. But he stopped at 5 different Culvers throughout the course of the run and was fueled by nothing but cheese curds and concrete mixers. And he doesn't just go for the minis, Jen. Like in this video, I mean, he's got some pretty sizable ice cream that he's putting down his gullet before he hits the road and starts running again. Okay. Cheese curds and ice cream.
Okay. Listen, like I said, after a marathon, sure, I'll house some curds. I'll down a Culver's mixer. But during a marathon, I can't think of anything I'd rather stay far, far away from than ice cream and fried cheese. Like, I'm having a tough time thinking about it right now. Well, that's just like jostling around in your belly. Like the cheese, that's not something that like quickly is digested, right? The thing with the cheese curds is they hang around. I can't imagine doing anything like this.
So when I was growing up, like the only like school sanctioned sport I could do as a 5th grader was cross country. So I ran cross country because I wanted to do a sport, and we had a Sunday practice. But at one point, a little bit before practice, my entire family was going for some Sunday ice cream at a place called the Ice Cream Station, very creatively named, in Horicon. I didn't want to miss out on the ice cream, so of course I housed some ice cream before I went to practice. That's a mistake you only make once.
I bet.
That's a mistake that you only make once.
And you know what's great is when you make that mistake, everyone around you who witnesses the mistake, well, then they don't make the mistake either.
Yeah, that's one. Running and ice cream are two things that just do not go together.
I've investigated this fella. I've gone to look up some of his work, his accounts. On TikTok, he only has 950 followers. On YouTube, 13 subscribers. This is pure love of the game and a sort of masochism that's indescribable. I expected him to have like tens of thousands of followers. He's getting pretty good views on his Culvers. He also did a Quick Trip marathon where he ran to Quick Trips and only ate Quick Trip meals from like the hot bar.
Yeah.
He's done a beer and brat where he filled his Camelback with NA beer and then had brats along the way. There's something here, and I don't know if this is going to be his push into the Culver's thing is going to be the right thing to sort of send his accounts into the stratosphere. But right now, this is just a guy who's punishing himself and putting him through these brutal things. Just love of the game. Pure love of the game.
He had a video, and I have not watched it, where he ran an ultra marathon, which is 31.1 miles.
Whoa.
But he only did it in a roundabout.
What?
He just ran around the roundabout until he got to 31.1 miles.
Oh my gosh. How many laps would that be?
I don't think I want to know.
Like the most a roundabout could be is what? Like maybe 200 meters, maybe?
That video, 64 views on YouTube.
Well, that's going to go up. That's going to go. Maybe we could kick him some attention. Maybe we retweet it on the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Twitter account. Maybe we post it on the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy Instagram account. Maybe we get this guy on the show. If he is a southeastern Wisconsin guy, it sounds like he's a Jen, Gabe, and Chewy guy, right? It sounds like, I mean, we appreciate the oddball. I mean, we're a bunch of
freaks.
oddballs.
We like freaks. I love freaks.
Weirdos. Okay?
I
love weirdos.
I respect that Joshy did the research and that this is purely for the love of the game. Like, this guy's just coming up with wacky ideas and like, oh, I'm going to have fun doing this. Don't care how many people actually see it, but this is just going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, and punishing yourself with... We all love the Culver's concrete mixer. I'm to the point where I don't want to have too big of a meal before I golf because I'll be walking too much. To be pounding concrete mixers, it has to be just devastating.
I mean, he looks fine. There is one point where during the video where he's, oh, stomach's cramping.
Yeah, well, of course.
But like, for the most part, he looks fine.
Yeah.
He looks pretty unfazed throughout the course of this.
Clay from Wisconsin, we are looking for you. We're going to try to reach out to Clay from Wisconsin, see if we can get him on the show. And look, I don't want Chewy to miss out on this, so we'll push it to later in the show. But let's see if we can get Clay from Wisconsin, who did the Culver's Marathon on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Also did the Ultra Marathon in a roundabout. What? We'll talk about the Bucks and Giannis. And oh my goodness, is there a new suitor for the Greek Freak? Speaking of freaks, we love them. We'll talk about that next on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Southbound on 41, heavy ride from Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol Drive, almost to Burleigh. Northbound, slowing from Watertown Plank Road all the way to Silver Spring. Eastbound 94, you got your backups basically from 92nd Street all the way to 35th. Westbound's heavy out of the Marquette to Mitchell Boulevard. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, rainy, windy, and chilly, a high of 50. Tonight, cloudy, more showers, breezy with a low of 46. Tsunami Express Car Wash's Memorial Day sale is here. Get your first month of unlimited washes for just $10, May 19th through the 26th. Learn more at tsunamiexpress.com/Memorial Day. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion, or your first big lightning strike, There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Families agents. Life's better when you're under American Families' roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Stay up to date on the Green and Gold all off season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Turn your driveway into the basketball court of your dreams with Precision Sports, Southeastern Wisconsin's dealer for Mega Slam, Ironclad, and Dominator hoop systems. From installation to customizable painted court lines, Precision Sports is a slam dunk. PrecisionSportsOnline.com.
Gabe Neitzel here. Catch Jen, Gabe, and Chewy mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
And the word of today is just going to be hello. Does anybody know how to say hello in Portuguese?
Yes, I take your order, please.
Excuse me, darling. Do I detect a Portuguese accent?
Sim.
Hold on. I thought Portuguese were Portugal.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
You know what? I should have started. So I started at the 101.
Yeah,
I should have
you
started
need history
at
lesson
001.
Das cafés uma ensalada grande, por favor.
Muito obrigada, senhor.
No, don't mention it.
Portuguese?
Yeah, my cleaning lady is Portuguese. I must have picked it up.
What do they speak in Portugal?
Portuguese.
And then why do they do it in Brazil? Why isn't it Brazilian?
Have you ever heard of imperialism?
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamara. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight, he ain't doing nothing but.
So it's Knicks and Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. A lot of people are thinking back to all those years when those two teams would battle it out. And the Knicks are interesting story. It's sort of been this slow growth for the Knicks, right? Like Tom Thibodeau's been there for what, like 5 years at this point? 5
something
seasons?
like that.
And, you know, it was like, well, how long is he going to stay? Because, you know, Tom Thibodeau wears out his welcome pretty quick with his demanding style of coaching and all of those things. But now, you know, you could say, well, the proof is in the pudding. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals. But that is not the only storyline surrounding the New York Knicks. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say about the Knicks thinking they have a shot at getting Giannis Antetokounmpo to come to the Big Apple.
If you talk to members of the New York Knicks, they certainly believe they have a possibility. And they believe they have a possibility for one reason and one reason alone. They think it's possible that Giannis will say he wants to be in New York. That's why. Because when you have a superstar of his magnitude, obviously, even though he has 2 years left on his deal plus a player option, if he makes it clear that he doesn't want to be a part of an organization, that's not a location you're going to move him to. And because that's the reality, you'll probably need a third team if it were to happen, because of the numbers involved and the players that the New York Knicks would give up wouldn't be enough, because what players would be enough for Giannis? But in the end, if this superstar, and he is a superstar, if this brother says, I want to be traded to the New York Knicks, and he tells Milwaukee that, and Milwaukee gets on the phone and tries to work out a deal with the New York Knicks, it most certainly could be done under those circumstances. Those are the only circumstances it could happen. It can't be where they're competing against a bunch of people. No, it has to be Giannis like, I want to go there. And they believe it's possible he may say that.
Knicks fan wants Giannis on the Knicks. That's the headline here. Yeah, I'm sure the Knicks would love to have Giannis. Everybody would love to have Giannis. Yeah, but we're still at the, how many times did he say the word possibly there? Oh, they possibly think this.
Well, CYA.
That he possibly could do this and possibly do that. Like, I don't care what the Knicks possibly believe, because we're all still living in this hypothetical world. And, oh, by the way, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but the way things are starting to trend once again in the NBA, they're slowly making their way back to the teams, the power. Because you think about some of the stars that have been traded recently. Damian Lillard wanted to go to Miami. Everybody knew he wanted to go to Miami. Miami tried to take advantage of that fact. Didn't offer enough for Damian Lillard. Portland said, screw that. We're not trading Damian Lillard unless we get something that we believe is actually close to fair in return. That's how Dame ends up in Milwaukee. And Dame was good being in Milwaukee. But his initial preferred destination was the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler wanted to go to Phoenix. Now, there's some extenuating circumstances there with the way the roster for Phoenix is comprised of, but he had to be convinced to go to Golden State. But he also became a malcontent in order to force the trade. If Giannis says, hey, I want to go to the Knicks, but the Knicks don't offer anything fair in return, and you heard Stephen A. say it there. Like, how are they going to have enough assets after giving up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and they don't have a deep team? Like, Tibbs doesn't play a lot of guys. They're very tight. So how are they going to give up enough to make teams happy that the Bucks are going to get players and picks from somewhere else in return? Yes, I know this has been the dream of everybody in the NBA for the second Giannis became a great player. Oh, it'd be fun to have this type of player for the New York Knicks. But can't the Knicks just focus on being in the Eastern Conference Finals? Isn't that good enough? You haven't been there in 25 years, and instead we get somebody talking about, oh, yeah, the Knicks are competing for a championship still, but you know what would be better? Giannis on this team. Like, focus on that. How about you focus on your team who's good enough to make it to an Eastern Conference Finals? Because that's the other thing. The Knicks maybe believe that they want Giannis, but what if they win an NBA championship? They're going to want to break up that team just to bring Giannis aboard? I doubt it. I doubt that they're going to want to go, hey, guys, great job. We're going to break you up now just to bring in Giannis Antetokounmpo and completely blow this thing up and completely mortgage our future. Like, that's the other thing that factors into this in terms of the Knicks. Like, they may be good. If they end up going to an NBA final, if they beat the Pacers, which they are favored to do, and go to an NBA Finals, aren't they going to want to run that back? It's not like they've been slowly growing, as you've pointed out. They haven't been hitting their heads against a ceiling and need that to break through. I guess I'm just, and this is just where we are, and I have to maybe be better about being okay with every just possibility that's thrown out there. But none of this means anything until Giannis meets with the Bucks, which is apparently happening at some point.
But I guess, and yes, that is a very good point. Let's remind everybody that Giannis is supposed to meet with the Bucks this week. They will have some of those conversations about his vision for the future, their vision for the future, how they are aligned or where they are disaligned, and they will go from there. But, I mean, to your point, none of these teams, the Knicks, as you know, the one we're talking about right now, have the assets to even pull this off. So right now, it's all just fantasy. Mm-hmm. It's all just, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be nice? Now I feel like I'm singing a Beach Boys song. Wouldn't it be nice if we could trade for Giannis? Yes, but you don't have the pieces to do so because, as you mentioned, you just used all of your first-round picks to get this guy. I guess I've seen Anunoby's name thrown out there as maybe trying to build something around him. That doesn't seem like something the Bucks would be interested in.
OG Anunoby's a nice player, but he's the third best player on the Knicks right now. I mean, you could probably make a case that he's the fourth best player, depending upon how you feel about Josh Hart. But he's clearly behind Brunson. He's clearly behind Karl Anthony Towns. Like, and that's where he needs to be. If you want to have a championship team, OG Anunoby, very good player, needs to be your third best if you want to win a championship.
But to your point, they're not giving up those guys that you just mentioned, right? Everything I see is Jalen Brunson this, Jalen Brunson that. Where does Jalen Brunson rank amongst the NFL players, or NBA players? They're not trading Jalen Brunson for Giannis, right? That doesn't make sense.
No, of course not. Because they want to keep Jalen Brunson, because they want to pair Jalen Brunson. Like, the guy that would have to most certainly be a part of the trade is Karl Anthony Towns. But then you kind of run out of players very quickly. Again, because the Knicks don't play a lot of guys. They don't have a lot of depth on this team. Like, Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart do anything for you? He's a fun player, but he's just kind of a scrappy guy that can do all the dirty work and get things done. So I don't know where the Knicks think that they have enough pieces to satisfy not just the Bucks, but potentially a third team, which I know a lot of people have talked about would potentially be the Pelicans, because if the Bucks want a third team involved, it's going to be the Pelicans to get some of their own picks back that they gave up in the Drew Holiday trade all those years ago. The Knicks just don't have those assets. They don't. And it brings me back again to, hey, if we're actually going to do this, please, serious offers only. Serious offers only. You're not getting Giannis at a discount. This is a man who is 30 years old, in the middle of his prime, who just did something that nobody else in NBA history has ever done in back-to-back seasons, scoring 30 points per game on 60% shooting. Nobody's ever done it. Giannis has now done it twice. And you're not going to get that guy on the cheap. You're going to have to give up a lot. And chances are you're going to have to try to figure out a way to plug some other roster holes after you trade for Giannis, because you're going to have some in order to get a player of that caliber.
What does your gut tell you today?
I'm still 60-40 that he stays.
Really? It hasn't moved at all.
It hasn't moved at all because I don't think it can. And it can't move until Giannis actually does something.
So the reason why a lot of people, and it's not just Stephen A. Smith, whose sound we played a few moments ago where he's talking about how he thinks the Knicks would certainly be interested in Giannis if Giannis were interested in the Knicks, is because Giannis did a Q&A and it blew up, right? He did this Q&A, and everybody's saying, oh, he's trolling. He did a Q&A on social media where he was answering fans' questions. And of course, he was asked the question again, where do you love to play? What's your favorite place to play? And he talked about this on the Thanalysis live show that we were all at. If you haven't seen that, it is available on YouTube where you can watch the whole thing. But he says New York. He says he loves playing at the Garden. So a lot of people are like, oh, Giannis loves playing at the Garden, and they start to try to breadcrumb their way from that answer to him playing at the Knicks. But what I've seen more than the Knicks, honestly, is the Nets. I've seen the Nets as a team that could potentially put a package together to try to get Giannis, and they don't play at the Garden. I don't know if people are confused about how this all shakes out, but they have their own arena in Brooklyn. So explain that to me. Well, riddle me this, Gabe. How does that all work?
Because people are taking the Q&A and it's a Rorschach test. Okay, what do you see with these answers? Because Evan Cohen was trying to do the same thing for his beloved Miami Heat. Giannis, when asked about some of his favorite cities in the States, he said, oh, I like Florida cities. Oh, and Evan's like, oh, Miami. Clearly he loves Miami. Maybe he likes Orlando. Turns out there's another team in Florida there, Evan. But when he did that Q&A, everybody wanted to dive in, even though he had very good things to say about the state of Wisconsin in that Q&A as well. You can take one answer and try to hold on to it because, again, Giannis isn't leaking any of this information. All this other information that's out there currently is speculation. That's all we have right now until Giannis and the Bucks actually have this conversation about what is going on. It's all just speculation. And I should be used to it. I should be better about it. We've been dealing with it just about every year since 2019. But because everybody wants to take that one little thing and turn it into a bigger thing, like nobody can be patient because that's how excited they are for Giannis to potentially be a member of their team.
All right, we'll take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Just want to make sure that we are keeping our Bucks loyalists, Bucks fans updated on what is being said about Giannis out there in the world, out there in the stratosphere. And Stephen A. Smith weighing in on the Giannis potentially to the Knicks conversation. And if you missed any of that conversation, you can find it on on the ESPN Wisconsin app. Want to tell you guys about my friends over at BetterHelp. This is an ad by BetterHelp. For Mental Health Awareness Month, BetterHelp surveyed 16,000 people across 23 countries for its first ever State of Stigma report. Here's what it found. 75% of people believe it is wise to seek support. Wonderful, great. That's a huge number. But only 27% of Americans are actually in therapy. So why the disconnect? Maybe they think it's not easy to find a therapist. Certainly there is some shame and stigma involved in this. Well, BetterHelp is trying to get rid of that, guys. BetterHelp has more than 35,000 therapists. They are the world's largest online therapy platform. That's right. This is online. They've served more than 5 million people globally, and you could be next because it is convenient. You can join a session with the click of a button. You can fit it into your busy life. And let's say you don't hit it off with the therapist that you have. You can switch therapists at any time. They are really trying to make it as easy as possible for people to get the help they need. And right now, guys, you can get 10% off your first month by using the code TIMEOUT. So go to betterhelp.com/timeout. That's help, H-E-L-P. betterhelp.com/timeout. And take this opportunity. If you need help, help is available. Make sure that you get help.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We got a crash now, northbound 41, right at Watertown Plank Road. The right shoulder is blocked, so watch out for that. We do still have this other crash on southbound Highway 100, just about at Keefe Avenue. The right lane is blocked on Highway 100. So that's going to be affecting your ride. As far as delays are concerned, Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol. On the southbound side, northbound Watertown Plank Road all the way up to Silver Spring. Eastbound 94, watch for backups from 84th Street all the way past 35th. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, rainy, windy, chilly, a high of 50 tonight. Cloudy, more showers, breezy with a low of 46. Weather's brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee, packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Your chance to spend an afternoon on the links with ESPN Milwaukee is just a tap away. The 2025 Delzer ESPN Milwaukee Open happens July 15th at the Ball Golf Course, and we're inviting a lucky ESPN Milwaukee fan and 3 guests. Hang out with your favorite ESPN Milwaukee hosts, play around at one of Wisconsin's most popular courses, and enjoy food and drinks throughout the day. Open up the contest tab in the ESPN Wisconsin app and register for your chance to win this fan foursome with ESPN Milwaukee.
Carbless ready-to-drink cocktails are here for your flawless summer. Hey, it's Brad Nortman. Drinking Carbless and watching the crew is already a win, but now that combination is about to get a whole lot better. Carbless is offering you a sweet night at the ballpark. Your chance to win 14 tickets with food and drinks included to the July 26th game is just one shopping trip away. From now until the end of May, head to your local retailer and scan the QR code to register for your chance to win this amazing prize. A flawless summer night at the ballpark awaits.
Whether you're a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel, conveniently located in the heart of downtown Milwaukee's Theater District. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site art galleries, artist in residence, and nightly live music, you'll enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com.
Bandana? Check. Boots? Check. Gloves? Check. As a motorcycle rider in Wisconsin, you may go to great lengths to protect your image. Just be sure you're protecting yourself, too. Wear a Department of Transportation-approved helmet. Perform safety checks on your motorcycle. Know the traffic laws and don't take risks. Motorists and motorcyclists can work together to achieve 0 preventable deaths on Wisconsin roads. 0 in Wisconsin. Together, we can save lives. Learn more at zeroinwisconsin.gov. Wisconsin DOT.
Highlight your long weekend when the Brewers kick off a 3-game series against the Red Sox on Memorial Day, featuring the best way to start summer, Dollar Hot Dog Day. Keep the summer vibes going into the week as kids and seniors can get 50% off select tickets at the game on Wednesday, May 28th. What's better than a long weekend? Brewers baseball and dollar hot dogs. Find your seats today at brewers.com.
Is your business ready to take the next step? At Fifth Third Commercial Bank Wisconsin, our team of local experienced advisors is here to propel you forward. We understand your needs and offer in-depth expertise, cutting-edge technology, and tailored solutions to streamline your cash collections, automate payments, and safeguard your assets with top-notch fraud mitigation tools. Contact Fifth Third in downtown Milwaukee today. Let's eliminate the non-value ad work so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business. Fifth Third Bank National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Look, you take Jesus and the presents out, and it's not even in the top 10.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you take sex out of the anniversary, then that's not that fun either.
On 94.5 ESPN.
I still can't get over this thought, Josh, of the Diana Rossini report, where the Eagles are whipping up votes to try to get people on their side for the tush push. And again, I know we're kind of at the exhaustive part of the tush push discourse, but there's just something inherently funny to me about an official from the Eagles calling up other teams and being like, hey, this play basically only benefits us. Vote on our side, will ya? Like, what could these possibly could the Eagles have to say to these other teams when the other team that uses the tush push as much as them, the Buffalo Bills, are also against the tush push? Like, what do they have to offer these teams? Like, hey, this is why you should be on our side, man.
The best picture I can try and paint of it is like basically trying to accuse the Packers and the NFL of being soft and like specifically targeting them for something because they're good at it.
I think that would work on coaches like Vrabel. Yeah. I have no idea how the Patriots voted in the soft poll that they did, but if you go, hey, Vrabes, you think this is soft, right? Yeah, this is football's for real men.
Yeah, because that seems to be the two appeals is it's not fair to ban us because we're good at it, and I thought this was football. Those seem to be the two things they have, even though I think you make a better case of it not being football that's rugby.
Yeah, that's rugby.
It's a rugby scrum. You push, you pull, you see who could get those extra few inches. There's something fascinating to me insofar as like the whole whipping votes. Like it's like we're watching an episode of what was the old Kevin Spacey
House of Cards.
Yeah. Like it's a House of Cards thing. When like are you calling and making direct contact with each owner because they're the ones who are voting on that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like your contact. Like if you're the GM, if you're Howie Roseman and you call Elliot Wolf. Like no, you got to go to the top.
Right.
So it's like has to be Jeffrey Lurie, and he's got to be the one calling other owners because again, it doesn't. The owners don't give a rip what their teams think.
No.
Like when they vote on stuff like this, like yeah, maybe they'll take a little bit of input, but ultimately they're going to vote however the hell they want to vote.
Also, trying to get people on your side kind of airmails the fact that you think this is a distinct advantage for yourself. Like, hey, this thing really only benefits us amongst the 32 teams, but we think it should stay for reasons which aren't clear. There has already been a rule that worked well that existed that for some reason got taken off the books sort of silently or is just ignored. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense why any other owner would be in favor of this rule unless they believed they had a guy who could run it just as effectively as Jalen Hurts. And frankly, there's not more than one Jalen Hurts in the league.
No,
there's Josh Allen.
Yep.
And then you're looking at a whole bunch of other guys.
There's a reason why the Packers, and again, the Packers don't even run a version of this. It's just they bring Tucker Kraft in motion, and then he runs an old school quarterback sneak.
Right.
Because Jordan Love and the running back are out there in shotgun. They're not right behind him looking to push.
Right. And it's just, it's so clear that it's going to be banned. And all the talk about it, I think because they're Super Bowl winners, having a catchy name, I think, has done 50% of the work here. If it wasn't called the Tush Push and something we all knew.
What if it was still just the brotherly shove?
Yeah, I don't think it goes as far.
Okay.
I think the name has done great PR.
It's good damage.
Yes.
It's done damage against the play.
has done great PR for it, whereas it's now a thing that people have to worry about. And the thing you've brought up many times of the hey, we're going to give you them a touchdown if you keep doing this. It effectively brought to the forefront the idea of nobody wants a play to be like unstoppable, which if you have to jump or create a penalty to try and stop it, it just sort of seals the fact that, yeah, this is so effective, it's virtually impossible to stop.
Yeah, because it'd be one thing if you designed a play.
Right.
Right? That's felt impossible, like because you're executing. Like, there's not really execution here.
No.
It's just you've got a tank of a human being at quarterback, and then you've got two other large humans pushing behind him, and they're going to get a yard every time.
Like, is the defense allowed to
push? No.
Right. So then how is that fair?
Yeah, then that is something that other teams have brought up. Like, okay, well, they can do this. How come we can't do the same thing and kind of have the push? Nope, you've just got to take on your blocker one-on-one and then try to stop a 260-pound man being pushed by 240-pound men behind him.
Effectively, the best you can do is line up your three biggest guys and hope they can withstand six guys?
Yeah.
The force of six guys?
Yeah.
So, like, what do we even... It's boring. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
I don't
and that's why, even if they don't get the vote, like, even if the Eagles, like, you have to be smart enough to know that even if the Eagles whip up enough votes, and again, I love that we're using congressional terms here. And again, because this is so ridiculous, like the Tush Push, it's more like Veep to me. It's more comedy than it is a drama. But the NFL's just going to find a different way around it. How many times have we gone into a season with, when Clay Matthews got called for putting too much weight on a quarterback,
right?
That was not a rule change. that was a point of emphasis,
Correct.
which the NFL will also do, and they can do without the 2/3 votes or whatever they need to have a rule get passed.
Right. I'm sure it would be something with leading with your helmet. It would be the way you line up and you don't have proper spacing. Like, there's a way, and I'm sure Roger Goodell and his cronies have figured out, well, if in case of a situation that happens we don't want, here's what we do: break glass. This is what we're going to call every single time. Like, what was it? Was it the Chiefs player who was called for lining up in the backfield like 4 times in one of the first games of the season? And they just really didn't stop. They just sort of stopped calling it. But you could just keep calling it because there's one team that does it. So you could just keep calling it on them every time. Guess what? Now your 3rd, 4th and inches is 3rd and 4th and 10 yards.
Because it's a 10-yard penalty as part of this proposal from the Packers. As far as unstoppable plays, Ian texts in, Carlos Talking text line, 800-990-3776. Tell that to Tecmo Bowl Bo Jackson. Look, that dude was unstoppable, but you still had to execute. You had to execute the perfect diagonal lines to go from sideline to sideline. Can't just run in a straight line at Tecmo Bowl. No, it's about running those perfect diagonal lines so you can outrun the defense.
It was also cheating to use him.
Yeah,
if you're playing against someone,
if you were playing against somebody else who was a serious player, there was an unspoken gentleman's agreement that you could not take the Raiders and use Bo Jackson.
Akin to Michael Vick the year he was on
my
the
goodness,
cover.
was that 2001, 2002?
Right, where you could just run backwards and in circles and throw a perfect pass all at the same time. Yeah,
or just have everybody chase you down, but because you're so fast, just outrun everybody. Much like Bo Jackson used to outrun everybody. The Packers wide receivers are in an interesting spot. And we're going to dive a little bit more deep into that because it's not just Jaden Reed, but Dontavian Wicks has been getting some praise from the team as well. We dive into the Packers wide receiver room. Coming up next, Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
An accident on northbound 41, right about at Watertown Plank Road, has the right shoulder blocked, so watch out for that. Beyond that, we do have delays all the way up past Silver Spring. The southbound side is going to be slow from Appleton Avenue down past Capitol Drive. Also an accident off the freeway system, Highway 100 southbound at Keefe Avenue. We've got the right lane blocked with that. Also 43 northbound backing up from Fond du Lac Avenue to Keefe southbound is slow from Silver Spring all the way past Locust. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Rainy, windy, chilly, a high of 50. Tonight, cloudy, more showers, breezy with a low of 46. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
This is an ad by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp recently surveyed more than 16,000 people and found that while 75% of people believe it is wise to seek support, only 27% of Americans are actually in therapy, and people stay silent to avoid being judged. BetterHelp has more than 10 years of experience matching you with the right therapist. We are all better with help. Visit BetterHelp.com/timeout for 10% off your first month of therapy today. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/timeout.
Let's talk about home turf. Your lawn is a reflection of your pride, hard work, and even competitive spirit. If you want a yard that makes the neighbors stop and stare, you need the right plan. That's where Weedman Lawn Care comes in. Weedman's lawn care program is kid and pet friendly, uses golf course quality fertilizer, and has an effective weed treatment to dominate any issue. Get a free quote of Weedman's winning formula for your yard at weedman.com and get 50% off your first treatment. That's weedman.com. Weedman for the win.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BODY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BODY to 321-321. That's BODY to 321-321.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Excuse me. Hold on. Getting choked up over it. So, hold on. Give me a moment.
On 94.5 ESPN.
This was just a funny note that happened yesterday because, of course, this makes sense. Hey, all the Packers wide receivers, I guess other than McCole Hardman, who signed basically a minimum deal this offseason. And so all the Packers wide receivers still on the rookie deals. So, of course, the guy who was a first-round pick is going to be the highest-paid Packers wide receiver. But it's just a funny note. Matthew Golden's contract became official yesterday, and he is now officially the highest-paid Packers receiver. Which, again, it makes perfect sense in my brain, but it's still just funny to see when that tweet went out.
It's just a function of the CBA.
Yes.
And I think if we're to take anything away from it, it is the overwhelming youth amongst that wide receiver room. There is, short of McCole Hardman, who is not being paid really anything and might not be a member of the team come August.
I can't imagine he's on. I can't imagine he makes the 53.
No. Between Savion Williams, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, all being able to do what he does.
Oh, and Keyshawn Nixon.
Add in Keyshawn Nixon. And also, wasn't Evan Williams at times?
Punt returner. Yeah.
So, I think he was a break glass in case of we don't get what we want in the draft. Obviously, the Packers went into this draft with the way they approached meeting with all those wide receivers and doing their due diligence on that. They always had plans for a guy to hopefully be able to return kicks and punts, but they just didn't know for sure if that guy would be there in the draft.
And honestly, the way that the new kickoffs work, would it be shocking if Emmanuel Wilson or Marshawn Lloyd, as more explosive running backs, guys who have that breakaway speed, and not that they would return punts, but they could return kicks as backup players.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if there wasn't one of those guys involved in it heavily, and then even one of the two guys drafted on punts.
Yes. Yeah. And it's the wide receiver room, and we've talked about it plenty. It's just in an interesting spot. Whether it's Jaden Reed reaching, or his agents reaching out to the Packers to kind of say, hey, what's my spot? Am I still good here? But at the same time, the reason why I had kind of questioning the wording, and again, I know Adam Schefter kind of dismissed it when he joined us last Wednesday, the wording of, oh yeah, he's still their top receiver, is because late last season, he wasn't their top receiver. Based on snap count. They only trusted him in the slot, which I think puts a big spotlight on Dontavian Wicks, who Packers, whether it was the wide receivers coach, whether it was Stenovich as the offensive coordinator, were heaping praise on Wicks last season because of the way, last week, based on the way he closed the season. The drops went down. They loved him out there from a blocking perspective as much as they were running the football. It is, but also, I've been scarred by too much gush and guys not coming through, Josh. How much am I allowed to buy into the Dontavian? I will buy into any and all Matthew Golden gush because it's the first time. But if you've been gushed about and then you disappoint, it's a, okay, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me situation. we're kind of approaching all Oneida territory with some of these guys as much as they get gushed about during the offseason and then the way they don't perform in the regular season.
I think you can buy in with a healthy dose of skepticism. I think the fact that year after year we keep hearing the coaching staff hype up one specific guy in a way that, like, let's be frank, if he was no good with what we've seen from Dontavian Wicks with the dropped passes and all that, he would just be an afterthought. There's enough guys in that room for them to get by. We haven't even mentioned Bo Melton as they would feel fine because at that point it's a fifth wide receiver on this roster. Like, you're not too concerned about that guy. That guy's going to be a specialist, a blocking specialist, or something like Malik Heath isn't even getting mentioned. So the fact that they keep pounding the table for this guy gives me indication there are signs of him being more than what we've seen. I'm not going to believe or predict a 75 catch, 1,000-yard season, but if he ends up being one of the guys that is, unseats Romeo Doubs, that to me is probably the best case scenario. He's around 50, 60 catches for the year and a handful of touchdowns, 6-7 touchdowns.
What is your ideal? Packers going 3 wide receiver set. That's kind of base for a lot of teams. Packers base could be 2 tight ends this year. Who knows? But you're going 3 wide receiver set. Who are your ideal 3 wide receivers as we sit here on May 20th?
I think it's Wicks, Golden, Reed.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're holding on to Dobbs and he ends up being one of those guys that, okay, we trust Wicks enough now.
Yep.
We trust Savion Williams enough to be a decent enough backup where, the rumors are out there about, oh, man, teams are calling about Dobbs. But I wonder if the Packers want to go at least through OTAs and minicamp, if not go through an entire training camp before they go, all right, we trust these guys. Now Dobbs is disposable. We can trade him away for a conditional 6th-round pick.
Let's be really honest about Romeo Doubs. He's made some impressive plays. He's made some big plays. He doesn't provide any element of explosiveness.
No.
He is a catch the ball, and he's going to get how much room's in front of him and nothing more.
Seemingly is in the spot he's always supposed to be.
Yes.
Which again...
we couldn't rely on Dontavian Wicks for.
Nope.
Nor could we rely on Jaden Reed for. So I understood why last year everyone was talking about how he's going to be a big factor in the offense. But in year 3, you would hope Dontavian Wicks is able to unseat that because, the guy's always open.
Yes.
He doesn't always catch it, which Romeo Doubs was a lot better at. But he was like a wide receiver who played below the rim. He wasn't going, he was the epitome of, yes, fundamental, fine, good. There's very little when you go to Romeo Doubs, unless it's a specific play called for him to get him open via play action. There's going to be a guy close to him. The guy's probably going to have a chance at the ball if it's not thrown perfectly. And usually Romeo's going to come down with it. But it's not going to be anything special.
No, and having guys like that on the team is valuable.
Yes.
But if he's somebody that you're clearly not going to re-sign based on past incident, I don't think that the Packers trust him.
No. Nope.
I think it would be hard to. Even though I think his teammates still have his back. Because I thought that was really important for them last year to a man. Kind of have the support and have the back of, and it wasn't, there was an amount of disingenuousness in Jordan Love's defense of Jair Alexander earlier this offseason. Oh, right. Jair's my guy. Oh, maybe you should text him, see what's going on. Right? Okay, you're fine with Jair as a teammate, but it's not like you're actually that close and you're checking in on him from Jordan Love. But Jordan Love actually close with Romeo Doubs. And had his back. Wide receiver room, to a man, had his back. But if you're the Packers and you're a coach, you're a member of the front office, I just don't know what you can do to come back from that and fully earn everybody's trust once again.
Yeah, there's just no way you would feel good enough about paying him to keep him around because, as we know, it's not cheap to keep wide receivers, even mid-level starters.
And as you pointed out, he's pretty replaceable.
Yes, he is...
or at least he should be pretty replaceable.
He's like the league average starting wide receiver and probably a little bit below that in terms of the top 3 guys you're going to have out there. There are dozens of guys in the NFL who can do what Romeo Doubs does.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not the type of guy that you go out of your way to make sure sticks around, especially with the behavioral things and not showing up for work.
Not the guy you're dying, got to design plays for this guy. Got to get the ball in this. Got to give him at least 8, 9, 10 opportunities a game to make a play for us.
Right. I'd be worried about the Packers offense without any Jaden Reed in it. You'd start thinking, where exactly are all the passing opportunities going to go? Who's going to be there?
That's kind of what the Packers offense was last year.
Correct.
It was basically, in the second half of the season.
But at least you can make a case. I've seen Jaden Reed be the best player on the field multiple times. I don't know if I've ever seen Romeo Doubs be that guy.
I mean, he had a really good, I think this is still true. I mean, one of his only, and it might be his best game ever, was the playoff game against Dallas.
Yes.
And I think that gave a lot of people hope.
Right. I think that was clever play design a lot of times. If you go back and watch it, Romeo Doubs was running around the field with nobody around him. And it wasn't, we all know him. It's not like he's outrunning everybody to his spot. I think it was just, he was their reliable pass catcher at that point. So they dialed up play calls for him to get him open, get the guy in coverage lost.
I mean, to this day, that game against the Cowboys is his only 100-yard receiving game.
Yeah.
And he had 151.
Yep.
And he sprinted past it. Had 94 against Houston last year, so that was the only time he got close. But, 95 against Detroit a couple of years ago. Never gone over 100 other than that game. And when you're 3 years in, again, that's why Romeo Doubs is completely replaceable. And I think they would be comfortable with potentially trading him away at some point in training camp if Dontavian Wicks emerges, if Williams is able to show as a third-round pick they can still trust him the way that, Jaden Reed or Romeo showed in their rookie years.
Yeah.
Like, if Savion Williams is as good as, or they think he's as good as Romeo was as a rookie, Romeo's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, of course. And, Dontavian Wicks, this season's really important for him because he might be in the same exact situation next year where we look at it and go, he is what he is, inconsistent. He'll get open a lot. He's not always going to make the catch, but you can replace that type of talent with a variety of guys. I'm closer to believing in, Matt LaFleur calling him Devontae Adams.
Well, his feet were Devontae-esque. Yes. That's what and getting off the line. That's what he thought was Devontae-esque.
And just the amount of praise that the coaching staff gives him, I'm not going to give up until you force me to. I feel like Romeo Doubs has shown us enough where he is what he is.
I know what Romeo Doubs is. And I know what Romeo Doubs can be.
Yes.
I don't know what Dontavian Wicks is, but I think I know what he can be.
Yes. And that's a lot better than what Romeo Doubs would be.
100%.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what age you are, low testosterone can be an issue with any guy. That's where Mentality comes in. Local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. Look, Mentality's been helping me for a number of years now. I have really enjoyed working with them, not just here at the station, but just personally, because I was tired, groggy, just didn't feel like myself. Thought it was, I was switching from, the afternoon show, going to do the morning show. Hours are a little bit different, get a little tired as the day goes on. It doesn't have to be that way. Those are signs your testosterone levels are low. And when I went through Mentality's process, I found out that mine were. So now I have a customized testosterone treatment plan that Mentality has just for me. And they can do the same for you. You can compete at work and sports like you did years ago. So there's really no reason. Just check it out. Go to the website, lowtusa.com, sign up for the initial appointment, go through their process, and see if your testosterone levels are low and if they can help you. Mentality allows treatment to fit into every guy's lifestyle. Find out more about Mentality's low testosterone treatment plans, lowtusa.com.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN. Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on May 20th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Baltimore Orioles.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in May 20th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Buying and selling a home can be a stressful process. Hey, it's Jen Latta from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. The We Sell group at Keller Williams has a goal of making it stress-free for everyone. Their passion is people, their availability is unmatched, something I'm experiencing firsthand while I search for a lake home to enjoy Wisconsin summers even more. Rob and Nick are there every step of the way, not just for their sellers, but also to potential buyers and their agents to bring in as many strong offers as possible. Get started today at wesell.kw.com. That's wesell.kw.com.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Thinking about buying or building a new home? Start with a mortgage pre-approval from Great Midwest Bank and experience a state of tranquility. At Great Midwest Bank, we offer fast approvals and flexible options with experienced loan officers who understand the local market because they live here too. Whether you're breaking ground for new construction or buying that dream home just around the corner, we'll guide you every step of the way. Bank with confidence and start your journey at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ Chris Canty here. It's time to turn things up a notch. This summer, don't binge watch shows, binge s'mores by the campfire. Press pause on the podcast and press play on warm weather vibes. Here's your chance to win $10,000 for your ultimate summer. What are you waiting for? Take a shot with 5 Hour Energy and make this summer your best summer ever. Visit 5HEshot.com for full details and rules to enter today. No purchase necessary. Ends June 30th, 2025. The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
His eyeball.
Wait.
Where do I get him?
I just assumed, when I said wait, did you just think it was just a suggestion?
Yeah, pretty much, typically.
On 94.5 ESPN.
I'm still stuck on this idea of this 2022 draft class, Josh. We talked about it earlier with Jason Wilde here on the show. Of the 3 guys that are a part of that draft class who are going into the final years of their contracts, all are supposedly in competition. And presumably one of them still has to win and be a starter. Like, even if, Anthony Belton emerges and Josh Morgan is going to be a starter, like, one of those guys still has to win their spot and be a starter. But it's still weird to me that Zach Tom, who finished 3rd in the All-Pro voting last year at right tackle, is in that competition. And then taking a closer look at that draft class, and I think it's hands down the best top-to-bottom draft class that Brian Gutekunst has had. But how good can it actually be if none of these guys are going to be here in 2 years? The only one who's under contract for next year is Devontae Wyatt, who got his 5th-year option, which doesn't guarantee that he is going to be a long-term guy. And I know they said that they wanted to sign Quay Walker to a longer-term extension, but also it's a little curious that hasn't happened yet, if they fully believe in Quay Walker the way they try to sell it. So how good is this actual draft class? So again, the first 6 picks, when healthy, were starters last year for the Packers. Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt in the first, Christian Watson in the second, Sean Ryan in the third, Romeo Doubs and Zach Tom in the fourth. Like, all 6 of those guys are starters, and then you also pick up Rasheed Walker in the 7th, and you have Kingsley Anibare as a rotational guy on the edge, all that are still fairly significant regular contributors from that draft class. And maybe, again, like you brought it up, maybe this just does all go away if they give Zach Tom an extension. But also by putting him in competition, it seems like they're not sold on giving him up a bunch of money here.
I think it works in their advantage to say he's in a competition, and then when you come to the negotiating table and you point to his rough end of the season and probably him having the season, not the season he would have liked, despite at times shutting out some of the best pass rushers in all the NFL.
Because he played through a torn pec.
Correct. But it's a cold, hard business. And I think this Zach Tom thing is going to resolve itself by the time the season starts. And I think it's probably going to happen well before that, where people around the league talk about Zach Tom as one of the best offensive tackles. I don't think the Packers have just totally missed the boat on that. I think they want a guy to be brought in at a number that will be appealing to them. It'll be a big upgrade in his pay, but it's a way for them to negotiate around it to say at nobody's spots given.
But Tom knows how he's talked about across the league.
Correct.
And I am worried. And again, maybe they're just playing a game of chicken with him. He had a torn pec. He's just going to take whatever we throw at him. But if they want to balk at giving him good money for being a really good to borderline great right tackle, would they balk at throwing the franchise tag on him? I mean, if you're Zach Tom and the Packers come to you and try to, again, hey, you're trying to do this negotiating BS with me instead of giving me the contract I'm actually worth. What if Zach Tom says, fine, I'll play out this year and I'll just be an unrestricted free agent next year and I'll get the money I'm actually worth? Is that worth playing chicken over? And do you want to throw the franchise tag tight? Because that franchise tag is going to be expensive.
Yeah.
It ain't going to be cheap.
I wouldn't play that game, but it seems like the game Russ Ball and Brian Gutekunst are willing to play. I don't know if it's ill-advised or not, but Anthony Belton just isn't taking his job.
No,
that's just not how it works.
Because that's the crazy part to me, that this guy was looked at across the league as one of the best 3 tackles, or best 3 right tackles.
Yes.
And now we're putting him in competition?
Yeah.
But who's actually going to compete with him?
I think it's more lip service than it is in practicality, and I think that's going to prove out throughout camp.
And I think that's just dumb.
A waste of time.
Yes.
I agree.
Wilde and Tausch, that's not a waste of time. They're coming your way next. 94.5 ESPN.
Southbound 4.